यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे संभवामि युगे युगे.
Radiant Updesh of Gita, given by Son of God Adisri Arun, will stop every storm that rages in your life. Now listen carefully to me. Know the secret of life. Understand the real nature of the world. If you put your hand fist in the flow of the Ganges, you will not get anything. But if the palm is made like a cup and put in the flow of Ganges, then the Ganges water reach the mouth. Oh man, have you clenched the fist of ego, or have you made your hand of surrendering? Oh man, will you be able to acquire this knowledge? Do you know what this world is? Human, demon, animal, bird, insect. From what substances are they born? How do they walk? How do they live? How do they die? And what happens after their death? Consider this mystery. The body is made up of 5 elements, that is earth, water, fire, air and sky. Bhisma Pitama, Guru Drona, Kripacharya, etc., something not more than the earth, water, fire, air and sky. Righteous man is also a combination of the Panch Mahabhut or 5 elements. And the unrighteous man is also the combination of the same. So, for whom are you tempting? In fact, neither a person's familiarity is with his body, nor the base of relations with his body. So come, get ready now to go on the journey of Radiant Updesh of Gita. Are you ready?
Today we have met the Almighty. Prabhu, we are your devotee. We glorify you from deep within. Shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Today we have met the Almighty. Prabhu, we are your devotee. We glorify you from deep within. Shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. bless us with happiness. Prabhu bless us with happiness. Today we have thanked the Almighty. Prabhu, we are your devotees. We glorify you from deep within. Shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. To love everyone.
Rid our hearts of jealousy and let us always be your devotees.
Prabhu, let us always be your devotees. Prabhu, let us always be your devotees. Today we have thanked the Almighty. Prabhu, we are your devotees. We glorify you from deep within. Shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Vishnu, your love is pure and true.
Help us to protect our dharma and purify our karma.
Prabhu, purify our karma. Prabhu, purify our karma. Today we have thanked the Almighty. Prabhu, we are your devotees. We glorify you from deep within. Shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings. Prabhu, shower us with your blessings.
ईश्वर पुत्र आदि श्री अरुण, तेरा ब्रह्म ज्ञान व्यापक था, व्यापक है, व्यापक रहे। ब्रह्म ज्ञान रूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्य तापत्र विनाशाय आदि श्री वयं नमः। जो ब्रह्म ज्ञान रूप हैं, जो इस जगत की उत्पत्ति, स्थिति और विनाश के कारण हैं, तथा तीन तापों को नाश करने वाले हैं, उस ईश्वर पुत्र आदि श्री अरुण को हम नमस्कार करते हैं।
हे ईश्वर पुत्र आदि श्री अरुण, काल प्रशासन की प्रेरणा से मैं आपसे मंत्रणा करने आई हूँ।
O son of God Adi Shri Arun, I have come to consult you with the inspiration of Kal administration.
हे देवी, मंत्रणा कक्ष में आपका स्वागत है। हे देवी, वेलकम टू द कंसल्टेशन रूम।
अब आपको आज से ही कली पुरुष से टक्कर लेने के लिए तैयारी शुरू कर देनी चाहिए, इसीलिए मैं आपकी सेवा में आई हूँ। अब आप कली पुरुष तथा उनके प्रतिनिधि का विनाश करने के लिए अपने योद्धाओं को आदेश दीजिए। अब आप लोगों को उपदेश देने में समय को बर्बाद नहीं कीजिए।
Now you should start preparing to compete with Kali Purush from today itself. That's why I have come to your service. Now you order your warriors to destroy Kali Purush and his representative. Now don't waste your time giving instructions to people.
आपने काल प्रशासन के द्वारा निर्धारित किए गए समय से मुझको अवगत कराया है, यह तो बहुत अच्छी बात है। लोगों को उपदेश करने में समय की बर्बादी नहीं हो रही है। मेरा यह अवतार संपूर्ण प्रेम का अवतार है। यह समय तो मुझे मेरे भक्तों के बीच प्रेम लीला का है, जिसमें लोगों को महसूस करवाना है कि सबसे पहले ईश्वर ने मनुष्य से प्यार किया, मनुष्य ने नहीं, मनुष्य तो बाद में प्यार किया। पूरा जगत ही उनके प्रेम के आकर्षण का परिणाम है। You have made me aware of the time fixed by the Kal administration. It is a very good thing. There is no wastage of time in preaching to the people. This incarnation of mine is embodiment of perfect love. This is the time for me to play love among my devotees, in which I have to make people realize that first of all God loved man and not man. The whole world is the result of the attraction of this love.
परंतु आज की राजनीति में उसका प्रयोजन क्या है?
But what is its purpose in today's politics?
उसका प्रयोजन है मनुष्य को यह सिखाना है कि प्रेम के बिना सृष्टि नहीं है, और यदि सृष्टि हो भी गई तो प्रेम के बिना मनुष्य का जीवन अधूरा है। केवल राजनीति ही जीवन को पूरा नहीं करती और ना ही वह जीवन का लक्ष्य है। जीवन का अंतिम लक्ष्य है प्रेम, केवल प्रेम, क्योंकि वहीं से भक्ति का रास्ता शुरू होता है। Its purpose is man has to learn that without love there is no creation, and even if the creation is done, then without love the life of man is incomplete. Politics alone does not fulfill life, nor is it the goal of life. The ultimate goal of the life is love, only love, because from there the path of devotion begins.
वो सब तो ठीक है, परंतु आज के समय में अमेरिका तो सुपर पावर है ही, लेकिन अमेरिका को छोड़कर 3 और देश सुपर पावर बनने का ख्वाब देख रहा है। आज की राजनीति ये कहती है कि अनेकों परमाणु बम से विकसित शक्तिशाली कई देश हैं जिस पर कली पुरुष के प्रतिनिधि का शासन है। वह इस धरती को मनुष्य शून्य बना देने के लिए तैयार बैठी है। वह देश इस धरती को मनुष्य विहीन कर दे उससे पहले इस शक्तियों को नष्ट कर देना चाहिए।
That's all fine, but in today's time, America is a superpower. But except America, 3 more countries are dreaming of becoming a superpower. Today's politics says that there are many powerful countries developed with many atomic bombs which are ruled by the representative of Kali Purush. She is sitting ready to make this earth human void. These powers should be destroyed before those countries make this earth humanless.
उसका समय आने तो दीजिए। Let this time come.
पर वो समय कब आएगा ईश्वर पुत्र?
But when will that time come, Son of God?
आने ही वाला है, परंतु अभी नहीं। अभी तो ईश्वर पुत्र आदि श्री के संपूर्ण प्रेम लीला का समय है। विनाश का लीला आरंभ करने से पहले ईश्वर पुत्र आदि श्री अरुण मनुष्यों को यह संदेश देना चाहता है कि अंततः केवल प्रेम ही सृष्टि का आधार है और प्रेम ही जगत का सार है। It's about to come, but not now. Now is the time for the complete love Leela of Son of God Adi Sri Arun. Before starting the Leela of destruction, the Son of God Adi Sri Arun wants to give this message to the human beings that ultimately love is the basis of the creation and love is the essence of the world.
प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार, प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार। आदि श्री की परम कृपा से, आदि श्री की परम कृपा से हो जाए भव से पार। प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार, प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार। प्रेम के रस्ते पर चल कर ही, प्रेम के रस्ते पर चल कर ही अमृत सागर नदियाँ आए, अमृत सागर नदियाँ आए। इस नदिया से आगे चल के, इस नदिया से आगे चल के प्रेम के सागर में खो जाए, प्रेम के सागर में खो जाए। भक्ति के संग संग मुक्ति भी है, भक्ति के संग संग मुक्ति भी है। हो जाए भव से पार, प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार, प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार, प्रेम ही सब वेदों का सार।
वाह वाह, आपके जैसे संगीतकार के संगीत के शब्दों में उस परम शक्ति की कैसी व्याख्या है।
वास्तव में संगीतकार की दूरदृष्टि ही समय की सीमाओं को लांघकर उस परम शक्ति को देख सकती है कि वह शाश्वत है। वाह! What is the explanation of the supreme power in the words of music? The words of music of a musician like you. In fact, only the foresight of the musician can transcend the limits of the time and see the supreme power that is eternal.
बजाओगे राधा गोरी ऐसा मौसम है, ऐसा मौसम है। उतर कर अंबर से तारे झिलमिल झिलमिल कर प्यारे,
सुंदर राजकुमार बनकर नाच करते हैं हिलमिल सारे।
ये कितना दिव्य नजारा है,
प्यारा स्वर्ग हमारा है। राधा पूछे शाम से, राधा पूछे शाम से, कह दो कन्हा कैसा मौसम है।
सोने जैसे दिन और चांद जैसी रात है, सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं।
हीरो के महल पे जवाहर की बरसातें।
सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं। सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं।
हीरो के महल पे जवाहर की बरसातें हैं। सिर पर मोर मुकुट धारे, बेकल जमुना किनारे।
है सुंदर राजकुंवर बनकर रास करते हैं हिलमिल सारे। सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं। सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं।
हीरो के महल पे जवाहर की बरसातें।
सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं। सोने जैसे दिन और चांदी जैसी रातें हैं।
हीरो के महल पे जवाहर की बरसातें हैं। सिर पर मोर मुकुट धारे, बेकल जमुना किनारे।
है सुंदर राजकुंवर बनकर रास करते हैं हिलमिल सारे। सुन के खो जाओगे राधा गोरी, ऐसा मौसम है। पावन मुखड़ों पे प्यारी मुस्कान है। पावन मुखड़ों पे प्यारी मुस्कान है।
बागों में, बहारों में, ये सुख की
रास करते हैं हिलमिल सारे।
राधा पूछे शाम से, हो राधा पूछे शाम से, कह दो कन्हा कैसा मौसम है।
दुनिया बनानी ऐसी किसने पुकारा है। दुनिया बनानी ऐसी किसने पुकारा है। बेहद गगन हो जैसे मिलता इशारा है।
सुखद संकल्प यही धारे, नयन वही नवयुग निहारे।
है देवी राजकुंवर बनकर रास करते हैं हिलमिल सारे।
राधा पूछे शाम से, कह दो कन्हा कैसा मौसम है। राधा पूछे शाम से, कह दो कन्हा कैसा मौसम है।
सुन के खो जाओगे राधा गोरी, ऐसा मौसम है। 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 ऐसा मौसम है।
कौन था ये? कोई दिव्य शक्ति थी, महाशक्ति। बस तुम्हें भी ऐसी ही दुनिया बनानी है।
O scattered people on the earth, today I, the son of God Adi Shri Arun, am presenting to you the radiant Updesh of Gita chapter 2, which is called Sankhya Yoga. Everyone lives life in today's shining and attractive world. But how many such people are there in the world who know the right way to live this life? In today's turmoil, my aim is to explain this truth to the person who's lost in the race of turmoil, this radiant Updesh Gita. I, the son of God Adi Shri Arun, begin to shower that divine knowledge Sankhya Yoga by bathing in its soft drops. You will enter the knowledge that is unperishing. Radiant Updesh of Gita, which gives the message of exclusive love, exclusive devotion, and complete surrender in the lotus feet of only one God. It gives an open invitation to purify everyone. Arjun further says that if he wins, he will get the land, he will get the blessed grain, but after getting all this, his sorrow will not be reduced, which he is feeling right now. This is the only truth. When the suffering of loved ones hurt, no benefit of any kind gives rest, and it is also a great thing if you are in grief, you are in sorrow, then until you do not remove that sorrow, do not find the reason for it, do not find its solution, even the happiness will not be able to give you rest. Sanjay speaks to Dhritarashtra, O king, Arjun, who has conquered sleep, says to Sri Krishna again that I will not fight, and after saying this he becomes silent again. That is, sleep is our natural need. No one in the world has conquered this. But Arjun was considered so great that he had conquered even sleep, while that same Arjun seems to be losing to his attachments, to his fear, and not to sleep. Oh man, it is very difficult to say at what time which weakness would dominate you, and for some time you would give up on it. When this has happened to Arjun, it can happen to you too. But Arjun was moving ahead by conquering that weakness, and in the same way, you have to grow in the same way. The curiosity of Dhritarashtra is increasing. It is natural that as a father whom Dhritarashtra wanted to win, needless to say, he could not participate in the war, but he wanted to know every detail of the war. Sanjay tells that, O Bharat dynasty Dhritarashtra, Arjun, mourning between the two armies, and before him Sri Krishna, who is laughingly speaking these words to Arjun. On one side, there is a crying, weak, frightened child like Arjun, and on the other side is the Trikaldarshi, that is, 3 yugas knower, Krishna. Perhaps that is why Krishna was called Deceit, who laughs like this in front of crying. And Krishna laughed, because he knew what no one else knew. Now, starting from here, the turmoil knowledge of radiant Updesh of Gita, I, Adi Shri Arun, say this to you that you mourn for a person not worthy of mourning and talk to me like a learned man. But the learned man do not grieve for those whose lives have been lost or for those whose lives have not been lost. The knowledge of Adi Shri Arun is the ultimate truth. I, Adi Shri Arun, again say this to you that you are neither talking like learned man nor are you talking like wise man. That is, nothing in this world should be mourned of. Why? Because it is neither like that in some point of time I was not there, you were not there, or these kings were not there. And neither is it that all of us will not live beyond this. There was no time when there was no Arjun, there was no Krishna, there were no other kings. We come and go. We come again and go again. The game of time goes on. Now this thing is very difficult to understand or explain to Arjun or to people trapped in worldliness like you. I, Adi Shri Arun, want to take you out of this trapped worldliness. The wheel of time keeps on moving. In every time, there are people like us, like you, like Arjun, and like Krishna. And in the times to come, there will be all three of us. And the same game will happen again. Oh man, I, Adishri Arun, in order to explain to you the game of life, I want to say to you that just as the body of the soul has childhood, youth, and old age, in the same way, another body is attained. A patient man is not fascinated in this matter. Your soul remains the same, but your body changes from childhood to old age. In the same way, you get a new body in your new birth. Oh man, change is the law of nature. What is now will change in the next moment. Whether you see it or not, feel it or not. When change is the rule, then why be sad for such a rule? What does not change is called soul. Understand this definition of soul carefully, that the body changes and the soul never changes. O man, the cooperation of the senses and objects that give rise to cold, heat, happiness, misery is creation, destruction, and impermanence. So you bear them. Don't be sad considering what your senses feel. Cold, heat, happiness, sorrow, honor, humiliation, gain, loss, victory, and defeat keep on coming and going. They don't last forever. Connecting with our senses and their subjects gives us the feeling of hunger, sleep, happiness, sadness, restlessness. It's all about your body that's going to end. This game will end when you understand the reality. The true fact is that the experience of pleasure and pain, which is experienced by the union of the senses, is neither sorrow nor happiness, but it is a veil of instant gratification. It doesn't always last. As during the rainy days, there is a momentary cover of dark water in the sky, which disappears after some time after the rain. This dark cloud cover does not last forever. In the same way, the covering which is felt by the senses will disappear after some time. It won't always be. Oh man, the day you understand the game of happiness and sorrow, the day you will be free from happiness and sorrow, because a best man, only the patient man who does not disturb the combination of these senses and objects, who considers sorrow and pleasure equal, only that person is worthy of salvation. Those who will consider happiness and sorrow as equal and will not be disturbed in the two conditions, that is, will remain the same, only that person can move forward in life. Oh man, whatever your age, take a look back in life. Don't know how many times there must have been happiness and sorrow in your life. You must have got immense happiness in this thing. Why should anyone grieve for those in this thing? Why should anyone grieve for those who's coming and going? If happiness is gone, sorrow is ready to come at the door. And if sorrow is gone, happiness is ready to come at the door. If you are sad for one, you will have to be happy for the good news to come. When you are happy for other, you will soon have to suffer for the bad news to come. But if you understand the knowledge, then you will find that both these expressions are false. Both of these have no value. If there is value, then only the soul which is constant, and that alone is true. O man, I, the Son of God Adishri Arun, say this to you that you know that imperishable by whom this entire pervading the visible class. No one is capable of destroying this imperishable. That is, the permanent is the only one in which this whole world is contained. The whole world, which is the biggest truth. Everything else keeps coming and going except the soul. This is the only truth forever. There may be difficulty in understanding this thing. It may also happen that it is not understood, but without understanding this, there is no solution. Your soul is the biggest reality in the world. This soul is within you, and when this soul is outside, the whole world that you see is also contained in it. The biggest truth is your soul, which never dies, and everything else, your body, which is called chariot, or whatever is your spirit, dies. That's why God's son, Adi Shri Arun, say that you fight because the soul is immortal. It is not possible to die. That is why it has been called the biggest truth. Wise or great men spend their whole life in sannyas, in samadhi, in meditation, in understanding this knowledge, this soul, yet they are unable to understand. I, the son of God Adi Shri Arun, tell you the truth that the body is mortal and the soul is immortal, and this is the truth. So what to mourn? The one who considers the soul to be the killer and the one who considers it to be dead, both do not know this truth. Why? Because the soul actually neither kills anyone nor is it killed by anyone. That is, the soul is only there. Its existence is true. Nothing else is there. It is ignorance that makes you think that you have killed someone or that you will kill. People in their ego think that they can do a lot or they have done a lot. Such thinking is just their ignorance and nothing else. Oh man, I tell you the truth that this soul is neither born nor does it die in any time, and it is neither going to be born again nor is it going to happen again. Why? Because it is unborn, eternal, and ancient. It does not die even when the body is killed. The soul is always there, lives in all times. Everything else comes and goes. The soul was there yesterday, today, and tomorrow forever. Oh man, the most serious point of the radiant sermon of the Gita is that when there was nothing, there was a soul. When there is nothing, there will still be a soul. Everything will change except the soul. All will come and all will go. Oh man, I, Adi Shri Arun, tell you the truth that the person who considers this soul to be non-destructive, eternal, unborn, and immutable, how does that person get someone killed and how he kills someone? Who understands that the soul is the biggest truth, then how can he kill someone? How can it die? If you understood this, then it means to understand the truth of Brahman, to understand Brahman. But you value lies more than truth. It is seen from the soul that the earthly body, which is made up of mud, will burn in the fire and mix with it, and will become dust again. Still you give importance to the body instead of giving importance to the soul. Oh man, you have to give importance to your soul, which always was and will always be. Just as a person renounces the old clothes and accepts the clothes of another, in the same way the soul renounces the old body and takes on another new body. That is, except the soul, everything else changes the same way you change clothes. When the old cloth is torn, it is discarded when its threads are separated. In the same way, when a person dies due to different reasons and the body is no longer fit to live, then the soul leaves it and goes to another body. Oh man, the body has age, but the soul does not. When the life of the body is completed, its breathing stops, and the soul leaves its home and goes to another house. O man, I, the son of God Adi Shri Arun, tell you the truth that this soul cannot be cut by weapons. It cannot be burnt by fire. Water cannot melt it, and air cannot dry it. The soul is not a thing that can be burnt, cut, or dried up. I explained to you this nature of the soul, that just as the cloth breaks and melts, in the same way, do not understand the soul and do not make the mistake of considering it as an object. Don't compare that soul with anything in this world. The soul is not like anyone else. There is no other similarity possible. The soul itself is rare and unique. It was there before you, it is today, and it will be in future. O man, I, the son of God Adi Shri Arun, tell you the truth that this soul is unbreakable and incombustible. It can neither be dampened nor dried. It is everlasting in all places, unalterable, immutable, and primordial. O man, think of it in such a way that this soul is good, it cannot be pierced, the soul is immortal, it cannot be burnt, it is lonely, that is, it cannot even be diluted and is undoubtedly indecent. That is, it cannot even be dried. The soul is eternal, omnipresent, immovable, and stable. O man, do you know the meaning of Sanatan? It means that which has always been and always will be. I, Adishri Arun, say that man is mortal. This means that when the human body is perishable, then do not pay attention to fulfilling every desire of this body. O man, I, the son of God Adishri Arun, tell you the truth that only when the soul does not perish, then only salvation is possible. If the soul is destroyed, how can one get salvation? If it is destroyed, therefore there is no liberation of the body. If there was no liberation of the body, then human beings would always be trapped in illusion and confusion, as if you are trapped now, and Arjun is also trapped. And you are not ready to do your work. The nature of the soul is avyakt. That is, the nature of the soul cannot be expressed, it cannot be explained. It is called achint. You can't even think about it. The soul is free from disorder. There is no shortage of soul. That's why, man, knowing this soul in the above way, you are not fit to grieve. Of course, it is not right for you to grieve. The soul is avyakt because you cannot understand the soul with your senses. The senses are for this world, and with these senses you perform such physical activities as pleasure, pain, cold, heat, touch, taste. The soul is beyond these. I am giving you this knowledge of the soul because the one for whom you are mourning is in vain. If you consider the soul to be born and to die forever, then you are not fit to grieve like this, brother. O man, the death of the born is certain, and the birth of the dead is also certain. If you accept the fact that the death of the born is certain and the birth of the dead is certain, then you have no right to grieve about it. O man, you were manifested before the whole being was born. You are going to appear even after you die. It is manifested only in the middle, so what to mourn in such a situation? Your being or anyone's being, it happens between birth and death. So for whom should we grieve? There is a sudden birth. When there was no one, a new feeding life comes with happiness. But along with that, preparations for someone's departure have also started. It is not possible that you accept the good and continue to grieve for the bad. Oh man, only one great person sees this soul as a wonder, and in the same way, another great person also describes its element as a wonder. Some other officer hears it with astonishment, and some do not know it even after hearing it. That is, it is very difficult to understand the soul. Some people will be surprised to hear about the soul that how can this happen. Some will describe the soul while being surprised, and there will be some of you who will not be able to understand this after listening. Do you know how many times people listen to the words of knowledge and within a short time they go back to their world of illusion? O man, I, the son of God Adishri Arun, remind you that even after seeing your religion, you are not to be feared. Of course, you should not be feared. Why? Because for the Kshatriyas, there is no other welfare duty than a righteous war. If you have decided to do some work, then do not be afraid of it. Those Kshatriyas are fortunate who get such opportunities of war to protect dharma without any desire, due to which the gates of heaven are opened for them. If still you do not want to face this dharma war, then you will surely incur the sin of neglecting your social duties and you will lose your prestige. People will call you a coward and a fugitive. For an honorable person, failure is more than death. The great warriors who have praised your name and fame will all think that you have run away from the battlefield out of fear and that you will lose your honor in their eyes. Your enemies will slander you and humiliate you with harsh words and will ridicule your strength. What could be more painful for you than this? If you fight, then either you will be killed in the battle and you will attain heaven, or if you are victorious in the war, you will enjoy the kingdom of the earth. In this game, there is always victory and defeat. Apart from this, showing skill in war is also a very big thing, and if someone turns away from the war, then he does not get any place in the society. So get up and fight with determination. Fight for the performance of duties. Treat the pleasures and sorrows of war, profit and loss as equal. If you will discharge your duties in this way, then you will not incur any sin. So far, I have made you aware of the Sankhya Yoga or analytical knowledge regarding the nature of the soul. By doing action in the state of consciousness, no fear. Those who follow this path have a definite intellect and their only goal, but those who are will-less, their intellect remains divided into many branches. Those who are engrossed in the pleasures, who are admirers of the fruits of action, love only in the Vedas, in whose intellect heaven is the ultimate attainable thing, and who is nothing more than heaven, those who say so, those indiscreet, the flower which is said to be a beautiful speech, which gives birth in the form of karma and describes many different types of actions for the attainment of enjoyment, those men whose mind has been taken away by that speech, who are very attached to the enjoyment and opulence, those men do not have the intellect in God. The Vedas, as above, are the manifestation of all the enjoyments and their means in the form of the three gunas. Therefore, you are devoid of attachment to those pleasures and their means, devoid of the dualities of joy and sorrow, the yoga situated in the eternal God. The name of the attainment of the unrealized is yoga. When a perfect reservoir is obtained from all sides, as much as the purpose of a man remains in the small reservoir, the same purpose remains in all the Vedas of a Brahman, who knows the Brahman from the essence. You have the right only in doing your work, never in its fruit. So don't work for the fruits of your action, and don't get attached to not doing your deeds. That is why fruitful actions with equanimity intellect are of very low grade. Therefore, O Dhananjay, find a way to protect yourself in your sambuddhi, that is, take shelter of the yoga of your intellect, because those who are made for the fruits are very poor. A wise man renounces both virtue and sin in this world, that is, he becomes free from them. With this, you get engaged in equanimity yogans, that is, the way to get rid of the bondage of karma. Then Arjun asked God that what are the characteristics of a man of steady intellect who has attained to the supreme soul situated in samadhi. How does that steadfast man speak? How does he sit and how does he walk? God said that in the period when this person completely renounces all the desires situated in the mind and remains satisfied in the soul with the soul, then he is called Sthit Prajna. A sage whose mind is not stirred on the attainment of sorrows, who is completely free in the attainment of pleasures, and whose attachment, fear, and anger are destroyed, such a sage is said to have stable intellect. The person who is everywhere without affection is neither pleased nor hateful after receiving that good or bad thing. His intellect is stable. As the tortoise withdraws its parts from all sides, so when this man withdraws the senses in all the respects from the objects of the senses, then his intellect is stable. Even the objects of a person who does not receive objects through the senses, only the objects are retired, but the attachment that resides in them does not retire. Even the attachment of this state-principled person gets retired after realizing the Supreme Soul. Due to the non-destruction of attachment, these primal natured senses, by making efforts, take away the mind of a wise man by force. That is why the seeker should control all the senses and sit in meditation, having an integrated mind, being devoted to me, because the person whose senses are under control, his intellect becomes stable. A person who contemplates on objects becomes attached to those objects. From attachment arises desire for those objects, and from the disturbance of desire, anger arises. Due to anger, great delusion arises. Due to delusion in memory, there is confusion in memory. Due to confusion in memory, the intellect, that is, the power of knowledge, is destroyed. And due to the destruction of intelligence, this person falls from his position. But a seeker with a subdued conscience, who is controlled by his senses, wandering in the objects through his senses, attains the happiness of conscience. When there is happiness in the inner heart, all its sorrow disappears, and the intellect of that happy-minded karma yogi soon turns away from all sides and becomes well settled in the one God. A man with unconquered mind and senses does not have a certain intellect, and that uneducated man does not have feelings in his heart, and a person without emotion does not get peace. And how can a person without peace get happiness? For as the wind takes away a boat sailing in the water, in the same way, out of the senses that move in objects, the sense with which the mind resides, that same sense takes away the intellect of this uneducated person. O man, the person whose senses are controlled in all respects in the objects of the senses, his intellect is stable. For all beings who are like night, the prudent yogi awakens in the attainment of ecstasy, in the form of eternal knowledge, and in the attainment of perishable worldly pleasures. All living beings are awake. For a sage who knows the essence of God, it is like a night. Just as the waters of various rivers get absorbed into the sea of full immovable prestige from all sides without disturbing it, similarly, in whom all the pleasures are absorbed without causing any kind of disorder, the same person attains supreme peace, is received not the one who desires pleasure. The man who renounces all desires and walks without love, without ego, and without love, he attains peace, that is, he attains peace. O man, this is the state of a person who has attained to Brahm. The yogi is never deluded by attaining it, and in the end, even after being established in the Brahm state, he attains Brahmanand. O man, I, Adishri Arun, tell you the truth that a person who is successful in doing this, he attains Brahm. Brahm means the greatest truth. Nothing happens beyond this. All these traits belong to those people who keep their intellect steady and achieve their goal. It is natural that if you also take these things in your life, then you too will never stay away from your goal. Oh man, this was the second chapter of Radiant Updesh of Gita, Sankhya Yoga. In this chapter, I explained to you karma. I increased your enthusiasm for karma and told you to take care of yourself only in karma and not in anything else. I, the son of God Adishri Arun, now next Thursday will come again in front of you with the third chapter of Radiant Updesh of Gita. On that day, you will be ready to go on the journey of the third chapter of Radiant Updesh of Gita. Till then you wait. Thank you.